You guys are all way ahead of me, so, that's actually pretty good. Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the minutes from April 26th, 2023.
I agree.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Additions to the agenda. Commissioners? Council? So, any public input?
I have something.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Uh-huh.
I attended the National Day of Prayer this morning in Mountain Clearwater, and we have a statewide proclamation from Governor Courthouse that today is Oregon's National Day of Prayer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Was it presented by anybody?
Bill Hansel.
Senator Hansel.
Senator Hansel, and it was presented to Bob Jones, the original sign. Very, very nice.
Wow.
Room full of people.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for attending. Any other comments? Moving on, let's go ahead and get started with the business today. Number one is an air unit purchase.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mark Tanner, Facilities Manager, Umatilla County. Before you are the results of the bid for the 3 makeup air units at the Justice Center, 95, 6, 137, 522, and 112, 67. I am comfortable moving forward with the low bid, as they were the contractor that did the jail remodel, and they did a good job there. So I'd like to move forward with Bruce Mechanical for $95,600.
Comments? Questions?
Mr. Chairman, approval.
I have a question, Mark. Are these the chillers?
No, these are makeup air units, so they bring in the fresh air, preheat it or pre-cool it before it goes through the rest of the system.
So it's part of what's coming down the line?
Yes.
Okay. And second?
These just failed early.
Oh.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mark. Let's go to the next item on the agenda, which is controller unit purchase. I'm assuming this
So this is
Stafford.
for Stafford Hansel. So we've already replaced the chiller and the boilers, and this is kind of the last piece to that puzzle. We received one bid for $100,943, and I would like to move forward with that.
It's hard for me to understand why we only get one bid for these. It just drives me nuts.
I don't know, I had 3 other people that were supposed to bid and didn't.
Okay.
It's kind of like the washers and dryers. I had 2 other people besides the one that bid that.
Well, I know that when I was there earlier this week, it was whacked out of shape again too, so, they definitely need to. Any other comments, questions?
Do you have any idea when there's only one bid?
Idea of what?
Why we only get one bid?
Oh, no, I don't. I mean, it just, like I said, I get people that call me, I mean, just like the makeup airs, the 2 bidders, the 2 lower bidders showed up Friday morning, like 9:45, so I didn't even know they were bidding. So it's not uncommon for us to only get one bid, just because we're really in the middle of nowhere and everybody has to travel to here.
Did you make the motion?
No,
Okay.
was what you.
All right. I move to approve notice of intent to award a contract for CHOC network building controller replacement to HMS Commercial Service in the amount of $100,943.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Next item is a letter of support for an HDR contract with La Guama. And I know that Bob's not here, so I'll go ahead and, are you gonna?
I don't know anything about
Okay.
it.
I'll go ahead and discuss it. I think everybody's familiar with the Oklahoma and the issues there. And, Umatilla County, working with Morrow County, the subcommittee has had discussions with several, engineering firms and settled on HDR and their proposal. The one thing I do want to mention to make clear is even if this gets approved today, that the Oklahoma committee could still say, no, that's not what they want to do. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I would request approval of this so that we can go to the Oklahoma committee with it. Any questions?
If the Oklahoma committee says no, I'm assuming you'll bring that back to us, yeah. Okay. Well, with that, Mr. Chair, I move approval of the initial contract with HDR to create program number 1032 dedicated to initial tasks associated with Oklahoma solutions.
And before we vote, I do want to thank the finance department and legal department for working on this because it does end up being a set-aside account that we can definitely track and easily retrieve information. It's been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next item on the agenda today is a grader purchase. I think this is the 30th one. Oh, planning commission, sorry. I was waiting to give them all a hard time, you guys. Nah, I just blew it.
Maybe we can time to find another grader to buy.
Got 15 minutes?
The next item on the agenda is planning division request for board of approval to fill a vacancy on the planning commission.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Megan Delchesky, Planning Division Manager. Our Planning Commission currently has one vacancy that was left by Commissioner Timmons. When she took on the commissioner role, she left that vacancy on the Planning Commission. We had an application notice sent out in the East Oregonian. It was also posted on the county's website. And we've received one application from an interested person, and myself and the liaison commissioner reviewed Ms. Kim Gillette, and we are recommending that she be appointed to fill the remainder of that term. So her planning commission term would expire December 31st, 2025, and she would be eligible for 2 additional 4-year terms if approved.
Just for clarification, is her last name Timmons as well?
Yep.
That was corrected.
That was corrected, okay.
Yes.
Never mind.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
I will say, as the liaison that did the interviews, even though we have one candidate, I think we have a strong candidate, and I think that her contributions, at least in my mind, will be beneficial, and I think that the planning commission will be in good hands, maybe not as good as previous members, but in good hands. So, if you guys don't mind, I'll make the motion to appoint. I move to appoint.
Board member?
Oh, yes, I move to approve, thank you. I move to approve board order number BCC 2023-022.
I'll second.
Been a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Grader purchase, greater, or greater, the greater grader.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tom Fellows, Public Works Director. What I brought before you this afternoon is part of our ongoing program to keep our graders in the best operational condition that we can by only operating them 5 years and then turning them over. This current grader is priced at $426,514. There's a guaranteed buyback on this one of $287,488 if we turn it before 5 years or 5,000 hours. The reason this is coming before the board right now is it's anticipated that this grader won't be delivered until October. So in an effort to make sure that we keep the spacing correct, that that works in that. The other piece of this puzzle is that the Sourcewell contract is being renegotiated, and after, I believe it's the 14th of May, the price will go up, so, considerably. So, that's why I elected to go ahead and do this right now.
I appreciate you doing your homework on that.
Fortunately, I have a salesman that takes really good care of it.
I saw his pickup here earlier, I thought he was on jury duty. Other than the telematics discussion, my knowing a little bit of background on the Sourcewell and stuff, I would assume that, if everything goes as planned, probably see a few more HGA type contracts or other buying groups and Sourcewell.
We belong to HGAC and WSCA as well, so, and I actually had that conversation with our salesman, and he actually checks those quite often, so, and his anticipation is that he will probably be writing something other than sort of.
You'll be doing more work.
Yeah.
Because,
He won't be, somebody will be.
yeah. Questions, comments, now that I've already,
I would move approval.
I'll second.
there's been a motion and approval, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item on the agenda this afternoon is road utility.
So you, it's really Tom's, isn't it?
Yeah, I move for approval.
I don't know, you slipped one in there.
Second.
No. Where are we? Oh, did I miss another one?
No, there's a change in order,
Oh, my.
so.
Okay, so, I'll back up, and there's a request to approve the sale of a 1977 distributor truck to Harney County for $2,000. I will say that Tom and I have had that discussion, but go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, this distributor truck, the county purchased in 1994 for $40,000. It was the first, large distributor that we purchased. It has given us a number of years of very good service. 2 years ago, we went out to get it ready for chip seal season and discovered that it had oil in the water, or water in the oil. Actually, it's both ways. And so we figured it was time to retire that. Since then, it's been sitting in our yard. We thought maybe we could use it for spare parts, but it's an old enough tank that we couldn't. We had it listed in the auction sale and had one bid of $100 prior to the auction closing, and so prior to the close of the auction, I pulled it off the website because it just was not going to be something that I felt I could let go for $100. Had a conversation with the roadmaster of Harney County, and they happen to have a similar vintage year distributor that this would fit right in their program as a parts machine. So I discussed it with him and asked him if $2,000 was too much to ask, and he jumped at the chance. So we don't have it parked in our yard. We wouldn't get that much out of it from a salvage company, in my opinion. The machine doesn't owe us a dime, so I would recommend that we surplus that to Harney County for $2,000.
Move approval.
Can I make a comment, please?
Sure.
I very much appreciate how you take care of your inventory.
No,
I mean, I think, the purchase and the selling, just the way you handle the whole thing, I think it's wonderful for your department. And
Thank you.
so I think it does need to be commended. Second.
All those in favor, there's been a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Did we skip the road utility?
We're back on that right now because this one was not getting from.
Oh, the road utility first.
Yeah, so that's why I started. There is a discuss the road utility,
Basically, previously you adopted an order requiring a utility be moved out of the road right of way. There have been some discussions with the utility provider along with some other entities, and it looks like we can probably get a resolution, but we're not quite there yet.
okay,
And so we thought we could, go ahead and get it resolved without the need of an order. So the request is just to rescind the order that was adopted,
I move approval to adopt order RD 2023-03.
Second.
been a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Motion carries. Next item, sale of a vehicle.
that's when you, it's the emergency management payable, isn't it?
Yes.
It's not nice.
Thank
Mark
you.
was waiting for somebody to go first.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Motion. Next item on the agenda is payment for software update, for the emergency, management reader boards and the MPH reader boards.
I have a question, where are these reader boards at?
Well, there's one out on, Getman Road. I'm just gonna tell you the ones I know.
Okay,
These are the variable MPH boards. These are the ones that give you your miles per hour when you're driving by.
okay.
Right now, there's
They
one.
move around.
Yeah, one's on Getman Road, and there's one on, when you cross Nursery Bridge, turn left with,
And Milton
in
Brewer.
Milton Water. It was there.
Oh, not telephone pole, it's,
Oh, shoot.
Cross Nursery Bridge.
Just past, yeah, anyway, whatever the road is there, that's where that one is.
Okay.
East Side Road.
There's one on.
That should be East Side.
Maybe it is. Anyway,
Okay,
and then the other ones, there's two stored at, the impound yard at Stafford Hansel. And then there's 4 that get, moved in and out of the storage yard at the other.
okay. And what does it do? It gives you your mileage, how fast you're going?
First of all, you can change the signs from anywhere. So it's like if you're in the fair, if you have one that says use right 2 lanes,
Mm-hmm,
traffic gets like it is at the fair.
right.
It can say use center lane only or whatever. So
Are
that
they
changes
just a
those.
box?
No, they're on the trailer. They're on the
Okay,
trailer.
so-
It's the variable message signs that you see. All of them are on trailers.
Okay,
All of them are on trailers. And all of them are digital. The variable message boards, you can change if you're standing right at the board.
mm-hmm,
And if you have the log.
sure, okay,
But the MPH, the variable MPH ones, and there's a total of 3 of those. Those, you can't retrieve information from without this. This also includes the maintenance on those boards themselves, too. So it's not, I said it's not, also.
make one, okay. I move to approve payable, all traffic solutions in the amount of $8,265.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next item is City of Umatilla, City of Umatilla agreement update.
this is coming before the board, as a result of the Umatilla School District bond, passage, last November. Cornell wants to go out and issue it, and as part of that, they want to, take advantage of what the developer agreed to in the enterprise zone agreements in the city of Umatilla, is that, the value of that development will be included in the bond calculation payments. And in order to do that, the bond council for the bond issuance had some changes they proposed to the agreement between the city and the county regarding the distribution of the long-term enterprise zone payments, as well as agreements between the county and the school district, to make sure that the county does pay to the school district the bond payments each year. And so what's requested is to amend the city agreement and then a new one with the school district.
Mr. Chair, I move approval to the First Amendment to the Latrez Distribution Agreement and Agreement to transfer and enforce payment and sign documents.
I do have one question. What's the term on the
15 years.
15? Second.
All those, there's been a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is budget transfers.
That's correct.
Just for you.
Rand Lane, Assistant Finance Director, Umatilla County, and I'm here to present 10 transfers that are scheduled for your consideration today. First, Budget Order 2023-111, 2050 Plan. The Central Water Project Program requires a transfer to appropriate funding not known as adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in materials and services of $600,000, an increase in capital outlay of $1 million, and a decrease in contingency of $1.6 million. Budget Order 2023-112, Equipment Reserve. The Communication Equipment Reserve Program requires a transfer to appropriate funding not known as adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in materials and services of $5,000 and a decrease in contingency of $5,000. Budget Order 2023-119, General Fund. The Records and Archives Program requires a transfer of appropriations to, for funding not known as the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in materials and services of $8,000 and a decrease in contingency of $8,000. Budget Order 2023-120, General Fund. The Finance Program requires a transfer to appropriate funding not known as the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in materials and services of $10,000 and a decrease in contingency of $10,000. Budget Order 2023-121, General Fund. The Board of County Commissioners Program requires a transfer of appropriations to appropriate funding not known as the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in materials and services of $235,000 and a decrease in contingency of $235,000. Budget Order 2023-122, Parks. The Parks Program requires a transfer of appropriation to appropriate funding not known as the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in personnel services of $10,000, an increase in capital outlay of $90,000, and a decrease in contingency of $100,000. Budget Order 2023-123, PLCP. The Public Land Corridor Preservation Program requires a transfer of appropriations to appropriate funding not known as the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in materials and services of $60,000 and a decrease in contingency of $60,000. Budget Order 2023-124, Health Special Program. The Healthy Oregon Modernization East Program requires a transfer to appropriate funding not known as the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in materials and services of $26,000 and a decrease in contingency of $26,000. Budget Order 2023-125, FERS Reserve. The Stimulus Reserve Program requires a transfer of appropriation to appropriate funding not known as the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in transfers out of $2 million and a decrease in materials and services of $2 million. And Budget Order 2023-126, Community Benefit Plan. The Local Improvement Distribution Program requires a transfer of appropriations to appropriate funding not known as the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in transfers out of $500,000 and a decrease in contingency of $500,000.
Thank you, Savannah.
Mr. Chair, I
Oh,
move
wait, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, Savannah, on the stimulus reserve program, it has a transfers out of 2 million and a decrease in materials and services of 2 million, and it wasn't known at the adoption of the budget. What happened?
Let me get that for you. We'll see if I have some backup. Sometimes Robert makes me read between the lines, so I'll see if he wrote any notes. So it looks like there was the addition, the 2 million transfers out, 500,000 of that was to economic development, and 1.5 million was to facilities.
Okay.
So I'm assuming a project that we need more money for in facilities,
Right.
which would be, there's lots of things going on right now, so I don't have the exact answer on that.
Okay.
But the economic development was known, there's been multiple transfers into that, I think paying for some of the bigger projects. I don't remember what they all were, but there's bigger projects than economic development.
Thank you.
ready? Move adoption of budget order 2022-111.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I move adoption of budget order 2023-112.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move adoption of budget order 2023-19.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Move adoption of budget order 2023-120.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Move adoption of budget order 2023-121.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Move adoption of budget order 2023-122.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Move adoption of budget order 2023-123.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Move adoption of budget order 2023-124.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Move adoption of budget order 2023-125.
Second.
There's been a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Move adoption of budget order 2023-126.
Second.
There's been a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That being the final item on the agenda, any comments or concerns from the commissioners?
No, none for me.
In that case, meeting adjourned.